Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Wednesday weather update recorded on the 26th of March. Let's have a look and see what's going on at the moment. Still got a lot of high pressure coming from the Indian Ocean, south of Australia, over the Tasman Sea, and then smack bang over the top of New Zealand. We have got some low pressure to the northeast and the east, but it's being smothered by a lot of high pressure, so those lows aren't really going to be doing very much. The main area of low pressure is around the northern part of Australia, especially around the tropics. We do see a potential tropical cyclone around the Kimberley region of Western Australia, and that does have some relevance to New Zealand because a lot of that rain, even the stuff that's falling over in Western Australia, may start to drift down towards New Zealand. So there is a fair bit of wet weather happening over there, low pressure systems around Queensland as well, but we are blocked by that for now for high pressure, so it's probably going to take until April to get to move our way. Here is the satellite imagery taken this morning. You can see all the low pressure in the Queensland area, some of that coming into New South Wales, but the more explosive areas of rain in those bright orange areas to the north up in the tropics. Not much happening around the New Zealand area. A little bit of cloud around the North Island and the lower South Island. Morning fog, morning cloud here and there that's burning off probably by the time you're watching this. But we are in a bubble of high pressure at the moment. That's why there is not a lot of activity in our area. Here is the 7-day departure from normal rainfall. Now this kind of backs up what I just said about rain that's falling potentially around the tropical parts of Australia, dropping down and coming towards us. Now that is not definitely locked in, but that's the current thinking. The 7-day departure from normal in blue shows you the areas that are wetter than usual. White is about normal for this time of the year, based on what's historically fallen. So you can see the rain around the tropics here, around the Coral Sea, especially around Queensland, possible tropical cyclone over here in the Kimberley, and all of that could be sort of drifting over the days and a week or so ahead towards the southeast, which then brings it out into the Tasman Sea and maybe clipping parts of New Zealand at the start of April. But it's messy. There's still a lot of work to do before we get to that point as far as understanding where the high pressure zones in the south, which guide all these lows, where are they going to be? So let's try and make sense of that part. Where is the high pressure going to be sitting? Here we are tomorrow, Thursday, high pressure south of Adelaide, west of Tasmania. We're in a bit of a break in the New Zealand area. Still got that weak low to the northeast, but the other big high pressure zone that was around the Chatham Islands drifts further away out over the South Pacific. And that means we've got a cold front coming in. This is it here. Not a very major one, but certainly if you live in Southland and Otago, especially in the coastal areas, you're going to notice that temperature drop several degrees down tomorrow compared to today. Further up the country, winds are turning around a bit more southwest, but they may still be a bit west to northwest in some parts of, like around Wellington, Wairarapa, Hawke's Bay, for example. Otherwise dry in many other parts of New Zealand, that wet weather mostly on the west coast, Southland and Otago, maybe getting into Canterbury a bit later on. By Friday, it's kind of messy. There's this very weak area of low pressure. It's a trough. It's like a pothole in the sky with a little bit of water in it. That's it, right off the coast of Canterbury. So we've got a little bit of showery weather in that zone pushing into central New Zealand, and that southwest blowing around the top of the North Island brings in a couple of showers to those very dry or drought regions. Certainly nothing that's going to be making any kind of difference to you, unfortunately. And we've still got a few showers in the south here, but temperatures may start to go up a little bit on Friday compared to where you will be on Thursday, especially in Southland and Stewart Island. All right, going through to Saturday now. So high pressure pretty much in charge of the country, but we've got the leftovers of the southerly coming in here. Now it may be a southeasterly, an easterly or a nor'easter, but it's been dredged up from the Chatham Islands and around. So it may not be overly warm for some of you in the east around Wairarapa, Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, and maybe even up to parts of Bay of Plenty and Coromandel as that cloud comes in, bringing with it some patchy kind of rain or showers, depending on how you look at it. On the other side, over towards Australia, all that wet weather coming down into New South Wales now, moving out of Queensland a wee bit. And that takes us through to the end of the weekend, where now we're seeing low pressure on the western side of the Tasman Sea, or the eastern side of Australia. We are under high pressure. That's a high pressure belt over the North Island, and the next main one is south of South Australia, but they kind of link up in the Tasman Sea. So there's a bit of a southerly here on Sunday in the very south, brings in a couple of showers. The very top of New Zealand likely to be having easterly winds, and we'll probably be seeing a At this stage, it looks like a nor'wester, but keep an eye on that in Wellington. Sometimes it's either a nor'wester or a southerly usually. It sort of swings between the two, so keep an eye on that one in your local forecast. Here is Monday of next week. Now look at this. Huge area, absolutely huge area of high pressure. May still change a wee bit, but here's what the current thinking is as the high pressure systems join up, going basically from around Perth all the way well east of New Zealand, out past the international date line near the Cook Islands, 8,000 kilometres from west to east. That's pretty big. The central air pressure, nothing too dramatic in there, but it's a solid high pressure belt stretching all the way up to Fiji. That minimises the chance of tropical cyclones and lows over there, but we see all this low pressure around the top of Australia and all of it sinking southwards down there, south of Sydney, even driving in some strong winds for Tasmania. So we've been watching that very closely. All that leftover moisture, there's the ex-cyclone by the looks of it in Western Australia, all the tropical low stuff coming down from Queensland. It's moving more towards us as we see a break in the highs. Here is the big powerful high over New Zealand. The next one is well off the screen. There is that gap between the high pressure zones allowing rain to come through. So if we want rain in New Zealand, we need this big high to move eastwards, and then we'll get some rain. If the high stays stubborn, it's just going to elbow that rain away. It's going to drop past Fiordland. It's not going to bring relief to the areas that need it. So at this stage, this is not a rain map that's shaping up to be anything sensational, but we're keeping an eye on it just in case. That tropical energy coming out of Australia in particular, worth monitoring, but it could easily drop down and miss us completely. So fingers crossed. Some of our long range data does suggest rain is on the way as we go through the first few days of April. We'll just have to see. Our next update tomorrow, Thursday, we'll also be taking a closer look at Australia and the potential for that tropical cyclone out in the west. That's all. We'll see you tomorrow.